Donc lorsque je flingue, c'est toute ma putain de nation qui flingue avec moi. Tu vois ce que je veux dire?
Welcome back, everyone. This is Puto with 3 rounds live. It's been a little while. We took a little bit of a break. Coach Terry usually is here with us. He's out there being a grandpa and doing all his things. Congratulations to the fam out there. We'll hope to get you back here soon, but we're going to have to keep going. There's a lot of things that have been happening in the amateur boxing scene since we last were on the air. We had an international tournament for the youth that happened. A lot of good things coming out of there. Nationals happened in December. A lot of great competition. We just had the National Silver Gloves that had a lot of great matchups. I'm putting up some cuts of just some of the bouts that stood out to me. So I think I got like 4 in there now, but we're still working on some and going on nationals as well. There's some international stuff too that we're putting out there. So make sure to go and subscribe to the Substack. That's where I'm putting everything first, full length, all that stuff. And then, in social media, Instagram and whatnot, we'll just be putting reels and kind of snippets. But if you really want to get into what's happening in the U.S. amateur scene and internationally, go ahead and go to 3 rounds Substack. We'll put a little link. It's on the link tree, and we can go from there. So, but today we're going to have a guest a returning guest. We've done 204 of these podcasts dedicated to the amateur boxing scene, and we're going to have a return guest. He's just been on a tear. He's been having a great year in 2024. Started off 25, just keep getting better and better. It's exciting to see just the development. So we're going to get into it. We're going to go all the way Pennsylvania, out in the Philly area. I'm sure you guys will know. Let's bring in the champ.
What up?
How we doing, champ? How you doing?
Well, yourself.
Hey, doing good. And you're out in Philly, coming back. You were just in a tournament, doing your thing out there. We're gonna get right into it. I know your dad's gonna be showing up. I don't know if he's already there yet.
We just got finished up some sparring, so I'm in the car now. We waiting for everybody else to come get in the car. It's all good.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we, like I said, you're a return, guest that we've had on. And we'll go a little bit into kind of your background just to kind of get people that didn't see that first one, but we're going to just focus more on what you've been doing lately. But first question, how do you get involved with the sport? How do you get involved with boxing?
So, growing up, boxing was just a tool for me to know how to defend myself first and foremost. And, learning boxing, I started at about the age of 5 and a half, going on 6. So when I started boxing, I was really just in the sport to learn how to defend myself, to build confidence, build leadership, dedication, determination, all those good qualities. And up until the age of 8, I never stepped foot in the gym. And I was 8, and somebody stole my bike from the corner store, which is it's pretty much like a deli. I don't know how y'all got it, where everybody's from, but from the corner store, they had stole my bike from outside when I was inside. And I was just being reckless. I was a kid. And when they stole my bike, I got real upset. So that's why I decided to go in the gym. And from there, I just been in the gym ever since.
There you go. Hey, I've been hearing things here and there, comparing it to kind of like how Ali got started and just kind of those things where, there's somebody that wants to take their bike away and, then it starts a whole thing and found the sport and we're able to get into that. But just getting into the gym, just kind of getting used to the sport is one thing. But when did it start being serious for you? When did you really start, training a little bit more dedicated to get those results you were looking for?
So, for me, it was when I was about 14 years old when I decided I want to take boxing serious and I want to look at this as a profession rather than just a sport and a hobby. Because me and my dad had a hard, long conversation about it. And he was like, that transition from amateurs to pros and just being at the highest level and performing at the highest level of this sport, it's a dangerous sport. And, just being with the nature of the sport, you got to either be all in or all out.
Yeah, most definitely. It's it's one of those things that I see. You can't want it more than the boxer. I see some coaches that are very animated, really want the thing to pan out, but if the kid's not in it, it's not going to flourish, right? It's not going to get where neither of you guys, the coach and the boxer, want to be at the end. So, okay, so that's how you started to kind of focus and really take it seriously in the beginning. Let's talk about of late, right? Last year you had a great year. You went undefeated at the Junior Olympics, 3-0. You did really good in nationals, which I want to get into. But let's go back to 2023, where you were competing at 125. You got to the finals, but weren't able to pull the win out there against Marcus Luther, I believe, at 125. What did you learn from that bout coming out that shaped how you were taking, 2024 as far as performing?
For the most part, the biggest thing I took away from the first fight with Marcus Luther was just that physically I need to get a little bit stronger. You know what I'm saying? With these bigger guys, my stature, I'm not too tall in the weight class. I'm not very long in the weight class, so I had to make up for that with physicality. So I had to be physically stronger than these guys. I had to start to get a lot faster, a lot stronger, change the way I think about it and the way I go about it. I was just readjusting the 3-minute rounds, because that first week on 3-minute rounds isn't easy. And going in that tournament, I wasn't feeling too well. So a lot of people don't know that. And, no complaints. I don't go around calling robbery, screaming robbery, or none of that. A loss is a loss. A loss is a lesson. And take it with the game. But at the end of the day, that was my first tournament at 3-minute rounds. I was just adjusting to that and making all those adjustments, and then being a smaller man in the weight class, and all that just played out. I had to change some things, but coming around the rematch, we came up on top.
Definitely. And, when I go back and look at the first bout back in 2023, that was one of the things that stood out. A couple of things stood out when we compared the second one, but the biggest thing that I noticed was you benefited from jumping up from 125 to 132. You got a little bit more mass on you, a little bit more muscle on you, and you could just look at it. So you're a lot more toned and kind of, physically stronger, just visually looking at how did the training adjust for you to be able to gain that weight, but gain that weight to benefit you, in these type of bouts?
To be completely honest, me at 132, I'm not really cutting weight. And that's the difference right there. So for I might have to lose around 3-4 pounds. I only walk around about 136 pounds, maybe, on regular. So when I'm walking around, I gotta go make weight for a tournament, I don't have to wear a sauna suit. I don't have to do anything. One running, and I'm on weight. So I pretty much just focus on being as strong as I could possibly be. I didn't have to be distracted or overwhelmed with trying to cut weight and make weight and super harsh dieting or anything like that. I could eat well, you know what I'm saying? Eat healthy, eat well, train well, and try to get strong as possible. I don't have to worry about cutting weight. That was the least of my concerns. So I think that played a big part.
Yeah, because that, you've seen it probably or heard of it where, people be missing bouts by 0.2 ounces or something, just very minimal because of those restrictions. There is no wiggle room when it comes to weight. You know what I mean? So you have to make it, and to be able to kind of take that kind of concern away from you, and going up to 132, because you competed at 125 still at the Junior Olympics. Isn't that right?
Oh, no. For youth and elite, it's the new weight classes. For junior and down, it's 25, 32, 38, etc. But for youth and elite, 110, 21, 32, 43. Okay. It's the 11-pound weight gaps.
Yeah, he was summertime because he was still 16. He was still in 15, 16 technically.
So,
no, he was already up.
No, it was youth, but they didn't
But was it
They didn't fight a
125?
lot of weight
Yeah,
classes.
they didn't change those weight classes.
Oh, okay. Because
That was the first tournament they had at those weight classes.
2132.
Yep.
That was the first time it was
That
2132.
was the first time.
Gotcha. And you know, because now that you have these weight class, going up to 132 seemed like the most, probably logical for your weight. Even though you mentioned it, you usually have a little bit of a height disadvantage. A lot of boxers tend to be a little bit longer, a little bit, just taller. Was there any contemplation of maybe going down to give yourself not that much of a disadvantage physically to your opponents?
At that point, nah.
You can't make 21 all week.
Yeah, I can't make 21 for a week. So when they finalized those weight classes, I knew from the jump I'm going to 132, and I'm just going to focus on getting as strong as possible. When I go in there with those taller guys, I'm just going to be a stronger man.
There you go. Now, Coach, just comparing the first bout against Marcus Luther to the second bout that just happened, one of the things that I noticed was physically Salim looks stronger. You don't have to. You just have to. You just know that the stance and the first bout. I saw that his stance was a little bit wider. Now it's a little bit closer to be able to sit down more on his punches. You can tell that he's really coming, with that power behind him. How, from your perspective, how did you change that training to make sure that he was able to really sit well and feel good and strong at 132?
To be honest with you, so from 2003, from 2023, I understood that Salim needed to be stronger. Mm-hmm. I started working on it right then and there. I think the comfortability with fighting on the inside and having his feet closer together and throwing the punches hard, I think that just came from boxing pros. Boxing Scooter Fultons, you boxing the Andy Cruzes, you boxing all of these guys, and you can't really just sit there and pity pat with them all the time. You have to take some time to put your hands on them, and you have to take some time to be physical, because you're not going to be able to only defend yourself with your legs, not against guys like that, right? And so you get good practice doing it versus world-class level talent. And then so I let you back against your peers and you're here, right? And so you just try to over prepare for the situation that's going to be a little bit under how hard you prepared. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the biggest free game I could give. I don't think I want to talk about the rest of how I did it, but I would like to give that to the masses at least.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, because the skill set, I think the skill set was already there. I saw a lot of the things that Salim still does, with how he sets up, combinations. He likes to kind of use the jab to kind of size them up. But in the second bout, the jab was a little bit more intentional. Like he was actually trying to touch him, not just find the range or trying to set anything up. The jab was, center stage as well. So putting a little bit of power behind that jab, was that something strategic? Is that just naturally working with some of these pros? How did that come about? Because I think that made a difference.
I think just him getting physically stronger. I think because I don't want this to get taken the wrong way at all. Marcus Luther is a hell of a talent.
Most definitely.
But for a moment, Marcus was like straight up stronger than everybody. Whereas though, like, you could have went and get Joseph. I don't care who it was. He was just like straight out stronger than them. I think with all of those guys getting a little bit older, I think they caught up to him a little bit. He's still like a little bit stronger. Still, even you could tell, like, it was times where him and Salim was close, and Salim would like wrap him up and like get out the situation. But Marcus was still like manhandling within it. Salim just was able to withstand it because we were strong enough to be able to deal with it this time. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was just one of the biggest things in reference for Marcus personally. I want to say you don't want to sleep on Finest Cummins, and you don't want to sleep on Eric Spencer. Them fights are not easy fights. They're not easy opponents to beat. You should probably get more credit for fighting Finest than you do. I've been saying that probably for 2 years because he's one of the worst people you can have to fight around that size because of his boxing ability. Sometimes it could be hard. So that whole week, it wasn't an easy week. And Navarrete, because Navarrete won a couple fights that people didn't have him winning.
Yeah.
You can't go in there and play with him at that point. You know what I'm saying? How confident is he at that point? Right. So it was just a tournament versus the best fighters in the nation, and we was able to come out on top of it.
Most definitely, and that's one of the reasons that the sport is just that engaging. One of these brackets. I mean, the bracket, as soon as it's set, that's it. You like, that's the opponent. There's no picking and choosing. This is not the pros. You know, you could fight the best, the second, third best guy right away, and you got to be able to execute and perform. And be able to, you know, all that stuff you wouldn't work in the gym. At the end of the day, it has to translate to fight night. And that's,
you got to get it off.
You know what I mean? And that's how it's working on. And for you, Salim, real quick, you know, the first bout against Marcus, that was to the people who were following the sport, are close to the sport, know that was a matchup to look at, right? The second time around, you know, you just got to look at a clip of the video. You got a crowd behind you. You know what I mean? You got everybody that's there. Everybody is focused on this bout. Meanwhile, we got 3 other bouts happening, but not to take anything away from those matchups. This was center stage. You know, mentally, you know, this sport is very mental. Was the crowd size and just the enthusiasm for this bout, did that, you know, how were you kind of making sure you kept that, you know, in check and not overcome or change any of the strategic things that you were trying to execute in the bout?
To be completely honest, the crowd, and just not necessarily the crowd, but like the pressure of the fight and just knowing everybody was watching, like the whole amateur boxing platform, and like, you know, especially in the US and probably some people these as well, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, most definitely.
I know for sure in the US, the amateur boxing scene, that was the fight of the tournament. And to be honest, it didn't really bother me. In all honesty, because I feel like I've been fighting at the high level for time and time again, to the point where, you know, just being in front of a crowd and just being with people behind you and, you know, supporters and people that not necessarily hating, but might not always want to see you win.
Mm-hmm. yeah, they're out there.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, just being behind that crowd and just everybody watching, it's just under the lights. And under the lights, I just feel like at home.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Crazy excitement. It's not really, I just feel at home. I go into a zone and I just block everything out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I mean, I can see the focus, right from when you guys meet up in the middle of the ring, and you know, the ref is giving you those final instructions. You can see the intensity and the focus, but you know, the calm. You have to manage the you know, the nature of the sport. You have to compete, right, against somebody that also wants to win. I mean, but also balance in a way that you're able to dig from that training, you know, that whole month, 2 months camp, and make sure that you execute this, because these bouts go fast. You know, amateur boxing, 3 minutes, 3 rounds. That's all you got. So, but for you, Coach, real quick, you know, in that second bout, you know, I see you getting animated as well. You know, you just the moment the amateur boxing scene is looking at the eyes are looking at you. How do you make sure that Salim stays composed and also make sure you don't get influenced by maybe the crowd or maybe what they want to see, you know, as the bout kind of unfolds?
Well, you ever see Danny Garcia and Angel Garcia? Okay, I put them up for a reason, right? You ever see, or even I could even probably use Devin and Bill a little bit, right? In this case, right? Mm-hmm. I kind of just, if it's going to be any energy, it's going to be my energy, and my son is going to stay focused. That's for all of my kids, though. I try to keep them there. When all of that energy comes there, okay, I'll address the energy, you address the game plan, and it's a way that I kind of keep them focused on what they're doing. Instead of them getting like that, I just let them use my spirit, and we work together. It's very spiritual. Boxing is very spiritual. This comes from my father and my grandfather. He has uncles on his biological mother's side, his uncle and his real grandfather. His grandfather and his grandfather's brother, they were fighters. So, spiritually, sometimes we work together. Sometimes I could say something, I could get ready to say something to him, and I don't even get to finish it. He's like, okay, all right. And I know that he knows where I am. So sometimes we working together. And there was a lot of emotion about the fight with Marcus. Like, we don't really shy away from saying that. We don't shy away from saying, oh, we felt some type of way, or we don't shy away from saying we want to get back. We don't shy away from saying that, we want to face this guy again, or none of that stuff. We just kind of deal with it as it was what it was. It was a lot of trash talk. It was still trash being talked. It was all kinds of stuff happening, you know what I'm saying? And we was just letting it be known that we was there for that moment, and we didn't care nothing about a knockout artist. With all due respect to his talent. Because I believe I enjoy watching Marcus as a boxing fan. I mean, I think you lying if you say you don't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you keeping all of that in check, and at the same time, you got David, and you about to go in here and fight Goliath.
Yeah.
You might want to push David. If you could push David, anything you could do to get David's spirit up, anything you can do to get David confidence up. You asking him to go attack like a Marcus is like one of them talents, like when a Mike Tyson or a Keith Thurman come through. Not many kids that you see really put somebody down 15 to 16 years old, right?
Yeah.
So spiritually, I was pushing them. That was all.
Yeah. No, most definitely good boxing comparisons as far as the styles, just to kind of really give you a visual of what you're saying there. But as soon as the bout was over, I think you walked up to the crowd. I think, right? You were hyping them up and doing all that.
So, get up. We just
So,
went toe to toe with the worst dude in amateur boxing. Nobody ain't think we was going to do that. Get up.
Yeah.
You want to get up. And the crowd was rocking with it. They was getting up. You know what I'm saying? I think that that was one of the best ones I saw. Now it just, even if I take me being involved out of that fight, that was one of the best amateur fights I saw in a while.
Yeah.
Like, no exaggeration.
Most definitely. And Salim, you were in there. I mean, you're the one in the ring. You're the one competing. Obviously, your pop's right there and kind of guiding you through the process. But at the end of the day, the execution has to come from you. You know what I mean? So, I think it was at the end of the second round. You guys were tied up, and then the bell rang, and I think I want to say Luther was got 2 shots afterward. Nothing devious or bad or intentional, but it just kind of happened, and you gave one back as well.
Well, it was the last bully.
What was that?
I'm gonna chime in, but he tried to pull off his last second of bully. You know how when you fighting the guy and he's menacing the people, and right now you're not acting afraid.
Yeah, and that
he was checked me, and Salim checked him right back. That's what happened.
And that's exactly the question, Salim. When that happened, knowing that you wanted to get that last shot in there, was that, I'm assuming that was purposeful. What was going through your mind to make sure that, hey, you want to let them know that you're not going to get pushed around?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's my biggest thing in that fight was you're not about to run over me. You get what I'm saying? I don't care what no one says. I don't care how you looking at this fight going into this bout. You're not about to come in here and try to run over me, because that's the only chance that you have. I'm 150% confident in my boxing skill against anybody in amateur boxing. You get what I'm saying? So when I go into a fight like that, your chance is you're going to overpower me. And I'm telling you, I'm here today to tell you that's not going to happen. Simple as.
Definitely. And I think the preparation in 24 to get your body into to the position to be able to withstand a strong, very tough opponent, and Luther specifically. We're not overshadowing any of the other opponents. This is one of the biggest matchups that has happened in the sport of late. But one of the other things that I did notice, skill-wise or just tactical-wise, was in the first bout, anytime there was exchanges, your hands were, they were not back the guard up, like he was able to kind of counter you, probably a little bit easier than probably you had wanted. In the second bout, it was like if I was watching Winky Wright. I mean, hard guard. There was the space that you gave him to connect as a target was very small because of that high guard. Was that purposeful? Like, I think that was tactically it worked because anytime you got off, he came back, but you were there was nowhere to hit.
Yeah. The thing about Marcus is that as you can throw as hard as you want, but you got to land the punch. And that's what anybody in boxing. You can take the hardest hitters, but as long as my body can physically withstand these shots, if I'm blocking the shot, I'm okay. So if I'm putting myself in a position where as when you throw this shot, whether I see it or not, I'm expecting it or not, I'm going to sit here, and if my hand's up, when you hit this hand, and it's not going to get through, and it's not going to hurt me. And as soon as you touch me, I'm ready to fire back.
Yeah. Did you do anything in camp, maybe a little bit different, the focus on tweaking those particular aspects of your game, when you compete? Was there anything that changed, or you guys try to emphasize throughout 24 or maybe closer to nationals?
Definitely. It was like, a lot of little physicalities that we worked on, and a lot of, hand movements and, defensive tactics to work on, going into that fight, and just being stronger and more into my legs and sitting down more. Because a lot of things that happened in the first fight, I wasn't really sitting down. Not only on my shots, but I wasn't sitting down in my defense. So when he would hit me, it would kind of make my body move, whether I blocked there or not. Because if you go back to the first fight, in the last round, we were exchanging. And it was kind of similar to the last round in the previous fight that we just had this last December. Mm-hmm. But the biggest difference was in the first fight, when I was getting hit, my body was moving a lot. Yeah. In the second fight, when I was getting hit, I was more stable because I was more to my legs. Yeah. So that was one of the biggest factors in that fight. And, just catch and return. A lot of catch and return, and a lot of being into my legs and stability and being physically stronger. So when he's throwing these shots, I can withstand them and I can fire back.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely stood out, that the footwork, just your boxing stance just seemed a little bit more grounded, right? Like it was gonna take something to move you, right? Like you just kind of seemed more balanced and stable and just physically able to take what your opponent was gonna bring at you. So yeah, I mean, the bell rings, they raise your hands up. And I saw the gesture. Everybody saw it. You were just kind of, shushing everybody. What was the gesture for? What was going in your mind that you needed to make sure that people saw that?
I mean, like, you're into boxing and amateur boxing in the amateur boxing world, especially in USA boxing. Word goes around, and word goes around pretty fast, and you hear a lot. You hear a whole lot, and especially in the first fight, and even going into the second fight, Marcus is a knockout artist. People expect a knockout, and on the other end of that, knockout artists, people saying, "Oh, well, you're too small, you're too this, you're too that, he's gonna hurt you, this and that." You hear a lot of things, and just going into the bout, it didn't bother me, but coming out of it, I was just like, "What y'all gonna say now?"
Yeah, no, those definitely. And I came across like that. It's it kind of seemed like you guys kind of went on this since that defeat in 23 in December. It was like this journey that essentially just kind of, and the whole work paid off. Essentially, it seemed like you guys put a goal together and you guys strived and got that title at the end. So. But Coach, here a question for you real quick. There's a lot to learn in this sport, right? I mean, the potential and just what he has accomplished to this point is amazing, right? There's a lot of tough opponents that he has been able to kind of dictate his style to that, make it easier for him to come out with the victory and kind of detach himself skill wise to the judges and to be able to kind of do that. But, what are those, we're talking next level. We're talking, you have a youth U.S. camp coming up later this year. You're going to see some international competition. We still got to see the elites division and what that can bring. What are you doing to make sure that this kind of excellent moment of winning the 2024 USA National Championship, what is it going to take to be able to not make that the stepping stone? Because there's more beyond. Like, what type of things are you looking for? Is there specific skills that you want him to sharpen? How are you going to get to that next level?
Honestly, I'm kind of like blessed, right? So, okay, Jamal Harvey is going through a little hand issue right now, but I'm real good friends with Darryl Davis and the guys at Oxon Hill, right? I have a very good relationship with Mr. Bosey. So I got access to Andy Cruz. I got access to Jamal Harvey. Do I really got to go past that if we talking about international boxing?
Yeah.
I don't.
No, I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got work to do. Naturally, we're not comfortable where we are. We're going to work and try to get better. But I think we have access to some of the better guys you could get learning experiences from, considering this style of boxing and boxing period. And then that's not even the only people we have access to. But I just use them because of the success that they were able to have internationally at that level of boxing. So.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Scooter and stuff like that, especially like Scooter. Salim learned a lot about being physical. That's the person. Him and Miguel Cartagena are like the first two pros that he really was able to box because of the size. Miguel was fighting at like 118, so Salim started boxing Miguel maybe 15 years old. So those two guys in the city, they groomed them, like they started it. You know what I'm saying? I want to always like to give the shout out and pay the homage to that. And then just after that, just finding our way, just trying to get better at the things that, that they tend to look for on that stage.
Yeah, definitely. And if you follow the sport, you see the corner, you see something, your guys' corner. Usually we see another coach there with you who is involved in the pros, Shakur Stevenson, Ray Ford, talking about Coach Rasheem. Just talk a little bit about that, because, knowing that there's other people with different skills and different things that can input and grow a boxer, having access to somebody with those type of credentials, like, just tell me a little bit about what you're learning, what's going on when we see, Coach Rasheem and other coaches with you.
Me and Rel are like, we like the opposite, but we not the opposite. We going in the same direction, but I'm safer, and he just feels as though we don't get paid extra money for extra rounds. So he could be that coach. I think a lot of the times if it's Salim or if it's Fats boxing, that's usually the dynamic. Sometimes Rel is an intricate guy as a boxing coach, because he could have some guys and he could be on pure boxing, and he could have some guys and he could be on pure dog. And I think especially with Salim, a lot of the times he's going to go the opposite way of me, and we might tug a war about it, and we just land in the middle. And when we land in the middle, that's usually where we need to go. So it's like an even approach. I look at it kind of like, okay, you look at Floyd, right? When you look at Floyd defensively, you're looking at his father. But when you look at him offensively, you're looking at his uncle. It's not the same. It's not the same way of thinking. The uncle don't even think like the dad. But the uncle know where the dad going. That's his big brother. So he know, like, my brother gonna complain about this shit right here. He'll say you getting hit too much right here. I think you should just punch the motherfucking face. I mean, excuse my French, but you know how Roger used to talk, like, so like, he would have that attitude, and Big Floyd would be like, yo, you getting caught too much. But like, when you put all of that together, that's why nobody ain't beat Floyd. It's not one of them, it's both of them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And whatever
Yeah.
else, whatever his Uncle Jeff put in. But I think that's how we look at Salim. Even Rel, a big shout out to Rel. Rel, we've been in the gym with Rel probably like the last 5 years, and we've
Hmm.
got a lot closer. And just that's Salim's other coach.
Yeah.
Also Wahid Raheem. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Why he when he comes around, he's usually just like he's like the criticism coach, right?
Mm.
Whatever we got going on, and we like, yo, what you think about that? And he's like, use a bum. You could have did this and this and that, and blah 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 blah. And like, but that we need that coach too. When we win, we be like, we win, and we call him like, yeah, now what? And he be like, yeah,
Uh,
your jab. So what? Because you see what I'm saying? He gonna find something wrong, and but
yeah.
that's what we really looking for. We looking for I
Yeah.
don't need another yes man around here. I need
No,
somebody
that's
gonna
definitely, yeah.
tell me, yo, nah, I need to work on this. Nah, he's doing a little bit too much of this. Oh, we need to work on that. We need to watch this. We need to build on that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what it takes. It takes like an African proverb. They say, it takes a village to raise a child.
There you go.
So
There
I
you
got a
go.
pretty strong village. I even got some elders that I can
Hey,
go down and holler at my elders. I might take Salim, my elders have been working on power or something like that.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
people like that. I got all types of Danny Davises and Elvin Thompsons and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
People
Hey,
been
there's
boxing
no,
40, 50 years, yeah, that I can go to and I can get advice, help, whatever. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
most definitely. There's no substitution for experience. You know what I mean?
No.
That's what it is. And, Salim, kind of on that same line there. You're the one receiving this coaching from different styles of coaches, right? Like, are you, do you receive information differently depending on who's giving it to you? Like how are you managing these different kind of personalities boxing wise that you're, trying to learn from?
Honestly, this is my whole honest opinion on coaching in general. Being coachable is a skill. It's not something that you're born with. It's something that's taught. Especially at a young age. Being coachable and being teachable isn't something that everybody is just, wakes up and they're just capable of being teachable or capable of being coachable. And that's one of the things that my dad, implemented into me at a young age. He always made me coachable. He always taught me to receive information, even if it's somebody that's not necessarily on your level in something, or somebody that you may not think knows enough, or you may not agree with them on certain topics. You can still take that information and take out the parts that you need to use. You get what I'm saying? So if anybody's telling me something, it could be, a typical Mexican coach out of any Mexican gym, and they could tell me something. And even if I don't agree with the way he teaches his fighters or the way that he might be trying to give this information to me, if something stands out to me out of what he's saying, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna use it.
Yeah.
No matter everything else that I might disagree with. If I agree with one thing, I'm gonna use that one thing.
Yeah. And they might just say something that maybe doesn't even work, but maybe it triggered something on you. Maybe you think about something different, different perspective. Like, wait, okay, maybe he has something. Maybe not, the approach has got to be fixed, but maybe this over here could work. So, and then you can kind of expound from that. So, and you have the benefit of being exposed to a lot of great pros as well. Like, Coach was just talking about, it begs, I'm sure people are going to keep asking, or probably always asking about, hey, when are you going to turn pro? When are you going to make that change? You have a lot of young amateurs that I thought could benefit from a little bit more amateur experience, just for the development. But you have some that are shining right from the get go. Carmel jumps out, and just some boxers that are able to adapt to that. When do you think, it'll feel like it's time to go pro? Is there certain things that you're still trying to grasp and learn from this amateur game, or is it just experience? It's just kind of grown into your body. Like, when is it going to feel right to make me, think about making that transition over to the pros?
Definitely. Well, I turned 18 this upcoming April, and I think I'll probably feel comfortable at 19 or 20 years old. But for me, and it's been my dream since I was a young guy, I'm looking towards the Olympics.
Yeah.
And, or everybody says it, but that's what I'm looking at. You know, I just made Team USA. I'm looking towards international competition this year, and furthermore, I'm looking towards LA Games in 2028.
There you go. There you go. And talking about, one of the things that makes the national championships in December is so, the biggest tournament of the year is because some of these Team USA spots are on the line. And I think you're going to go to camp at the end of April, to May 7th. There's going to be, it's going to be an evaluation selection camp. That's how it's listed, where you have to gain or generate 70 points, in a scale that, they provide all this information, but there's certain things that you have to hit, be it the diet, be it performance in the gym, with drills and whatnot, technical sparring, and there all these different aspects that you're going to be graded on to make sure that you can pass a certain threshold to be able to represent USA in international competition this year. I talked to a boxer who was in Team USA in the elite division. I won't say who, but one of the aspects that he told me, when there's a lot of good boxers, but to be able to pick that right one it has to do a lot with how do you train? Are you able to do the 3 sessions a day or whatever it is, and be able to withstand that type of rigor? How are you preparing yourself to make sure that doesn't even become a question, that you'll be able to, go in there and do what you need to do, but you have to be kind of prepared to take that next level of amateur boxing, Olympic style boxing? How are you preparing yourself for that camp and making sure that you have an opportunity to compete internationally?
So for me, my thought process going into a camp, I've been to camps before. I've experienced the process to an extent. I've never been to a selection camp, not for youth, but I've been to the junior camps. I've been to the youth camp, and I'm not going to put a trillion details out there, but, I've been through the motions, and I'm pretty comfortable with the things that they're going to be looking for in the selection camp this upcoming April. So, I've just been working on these things, and of course I'm going to practice it, and physically and mentally, I just want to be prepared for those 3 sessions a day, especially being up in Colorado, because, being on the East Coast, we're down near the water. So going up into that elevation, it's a big difference.
That's the difference.
So that's the biggest difference for me going up into that camp.
The 3 days.
Yeah, the 3 days, that's child's work, because in the summertime,
like that. Yeah.
I'll do 3 days. Like in camp, we have keys to the gym. I'll do 2 days, come to the gym early in the morning, go in the gym after school, maybe go for a run before or after the gym. You get what I'm saying? So that's 2-3 sessions a day during the school year. So 3 days, that's no bother. But that elevation is really the biggest difference coming from the East Coast and, just near the water and going up into the mountains. Yeah. When I went to Colorado for the first time, it was pretty tough.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely, especially competing at this level, right? Everybody, the best, from all the weight divisions in one camp, in one location. There's, and plus they added the element of selecting, so there's another boxer within your weight class. They should be there, at least the way they're doing it. So there's no other option but to continue to get better, elevate, bite down, overcome everything. But, Coach, is there anything in particular that you're doing to make sure that, elevation or any of these obstacles that might come during training camp, or, all the different things that they're going to put them through to be able to come out at the end and be a member of the Team USA? Are you doing anything to kind of make sure that doesn't even become an issue when he's out there?
Being honest, no, I work on his legs. I just have him maintain the things that he's been maintaining. I understand when he goes up at elevation, the air is going to get thinner, and that's going to be his obstacle. Once he can adjust to the air, I believe he's already kind of ready. We don't get ready normally. We are a little bit above the normal scheduling of what people on this level, we go above and beyond already. So I'm quite sure I don't really I don't even look for that to be an issue, to be honest. It's just adjusting to the air. See, he called me when he was up there, and he was like, when he first got there, he's like, man, it's like you can't breathe. I just need a couple days. And then after that, I was talking to him. He was like, yeah, I'm cool now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this time he'll have longer. Once he acclimates to the what's going on, he'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. And let's visit the national Silver Gloves that just happened. It just happened last week. I want to say competed 3 times. And what was the approach being so quick? It was only a few weeks from nationals. One of the biggest bouts of the the sport just happened. Going right back into it. Was this just kind of business as usual? Just kind of go, putting some time into work and just do what you have to do. Was there anything different? And how did you see Salim, perform after nationals? What things obviously improve.
Honestly, yeah, but the Silver Gloves is a weird place. It's not like when you at the regular nationals. If I could just be very honest with you, like you have to be careful. Sometimes you can't just at regular nationals you can outbox somebody. At Silver Gloves, you have to put as they like to say in the hood, you might have to put BTA. You might have to pull your belt out because the way they judging it is not even really the same judges that you get from nationals. It's like a couple of them, but like the Silver Gloves and the Golden Gloves be having their own officials, not their own officials, but just officials who tend to go there, but not really come to nationals. So you got to understand, you're not doing at the table could be a little bit different. So you might have to you might find yourself running down in a situation where you might have just boxed and kept it clean. We went out there with the intention to work on our international boxing more out of our neutral stance to staggered neutral stance to certain things we've been working on. But as you go in, you start looking at the way certain things are getting called. Sometimes you say, you know what, just win that fight. Okay, then this one, you might look around, you might not like the way a couple things got called that day. You might see a fight, you thought one guy won, they called it another way. Then you might look at each other and say, you know what, BTA. You know what I mean? Straight up. Don't even you know what I'm saying? But something go left. Just the Silver Gloves. Like, stop playing down here. Like, you can't play down the Silver Gloves. Like, ain't no going backwards. Ain't no being on the ropes.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I don't care how good you were. At the Silver Glove, they say you lost. So and that's a pressure within itself. And then at the Silver Gloves, you allowed to talk more trash. You allowed to the atmosphere is not the same atmosphere. It's just not.
No. I mean, was the brawl that happened there? Wasn't that last year? Maybe 2 years ago. There was a brawl.
Because some of the parents, they not really used to it yet. Like some of them, they not really used to it. Like you gonna get some crazy moms down the Silver Gloves. Like we had a mom down the Silver Gloves walk up to Salim and give him a handshake and give him a hug and say, "We're gonna beat you." And we like, "Who are you? Who is your child, man? You sure? Like, why you do that? Like, even if you was trying to whip us, like, didn't you feel like you needed the element of surprise? You know who you fighting?"
Yeah.
But she didn't know no better. She was just somebody mom from Kansas City, Missouri. And she was at the Silver Gloves and they told her that her little Tata was whooping behind and she just was confident in her Tata. And I can't get mad at her for being confident in Tata. I saw Tata fight and I understand her confidence. I did. But like, she don't know that like, like you leave them alone. Like certain people don't mess with. Like, that's like, you don't go up and talk trash to Joseph. Leave Joseph alone. If you're going to beat Joseph, just beat him. Don't say nothing. Try to beat him.
Yeah.
You don't do that to Marcus. You don't do that to Thomas. Don't go say nothing. Just when you walk past, just say, all right, whatever. And you can even give him a hard stare, but don't you know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be hard anyway. You got a hard enough time anyway. I don't know why you trying to make that be on your back too.
Man.
But that's the Silver Gloves for you, though. That's only at the Silver Gloves. Only at the Silver Gloves will you get that.
Man, look at that. Salim, how did you feel that you fought 3 times? You feeling good? Like, I'm still looking. I'm looking back at tape, but 3 times. I mean, it's still, you still got to compete, right? Like, it's still, the other guy still wants the win. How did you feel at this tournament?
For that tournament, the biggest obstacle, well, not necessarily an obstacle, but my biggest concern was, just keeping myself in it mentally. coming out of it was when did I go to camp? It was October. Yeah, it was October. So pretty much from that stretch pre-camp, camp for youth, the youth worlds, getting ready for that, and then kind of jumping straight into camp for nationals in December, and then carrying on, jumping into camp for Silver Gloves. It's been a long stretch from September to
January. Yeah.
Eventually it gets to a point where your mind starts to go in and out of it, and not necessarily get unfocused, but you have to give yourself a mental break.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the biggest part was balancing that and just keeping myself in it and keeping myself focused and not underestimating anybody under no causes. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, definitely. And you're the target now, right? Anytime they see your name on the other side of of the ring there, they know that that you're going to get their best. Whoever it is, whoever is across is going to be able to wants to beat you, wants to win, because you are that person now that they're trying to beat.
The hardest, being at that level and just being that guy that everybody is, kind of targeting. It's in a position whereas everybody it's no pressure on them, but all the pressure is on you. And you're just supposed to go out there and win like you always do. Everybody just expects you to win. Everybody expects a super spectacular performance every fight. But this other guy, it's nothing on the line for him, but it's everything to gain.
Yeah.
And his life could change in 15 minutes?
Yeah.
15 his whole career. But this same 15 minutes could just be another day.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. I remember Floyd Diaz said, it's easy to get to the top, but it's harder to stay there. You know what I mean? And because everybody's gunning for you. But talking about that, and that's a real thing. You don't want to get burned out, even for a small period, right? You're training, you're doing all this, going through the tournaments and all that stuff. Staying focused is a thing. You got to be able to stay focused and stay on track. With that being said, when's the next time we're going to see you compete?
I don't think Vegas, June qualifiers. No, not qualifiers. Jules. We will attend the qualifiers, not up in the mountains. We will be in Vegas in June. You get what I'm saying? And my next big thing is camp in April.
Yeah, and the thing, they also, when they announced the 3 tournaments of the year, 4. I think there's a women's tournament as well, but they announced a USA Boxing International Open that's going to be just right before the Youth Team USA camp. The tournament ends on the 19th. Camp starts on the 20th, based on the dates that I'm looking at. And the International Open is in Pueblo, which is near Colorado Springs. So I don't know if that was that in are you planning to compete on that, or what are you guys thinking?
No, if I needed transportation from the tournament to the camp, that was all covered. Like being on the team and just everything, all of that was covered. But it was our decision that we made for our team, not just for me, but for everybody else on the team. And we just all decided this isn't the tournament for us, and we'll just focus on June.
Perfect. All right, definitely. Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of competition, and you want to spread out, especially since you're preparing to compete internationally. Do you know, by the way, where the tournament internationally would be for youth, and when? I don't know if they announced it. I haven't seen it. Do you happen to know?
And it's going to be from, I want to say, July 23rd to August 7th, somewhere around those dates.
Okay. All right. So that's a big summer, for you and just the development of your amateur career, and then by the time nationals comes around in December, you'll be competing at elite at that point.
Yep.
Right. So is is there anything really in particular that you're doing different to kind of prepare for the elite, or is it just kind of just continue getting better and better, and it's more kind of a gradual progression than any big change? Or how do you guys approach when you guys start getting ready to go into a different age bracket?
You know, going into a different age bracket, the biggest jump from junior to youth was that 3 minute gap. And the biggest jump, I believe, going from youth to elite will, just be the strength fighting kids compared to grown men. They're a lot stronger and a lot more physical. And the pacing of the fight slows down even a little bit more, compared to fighting youth 17, 18, and, 19 plus. You can fight a man 30 years old that's been boxing since he was 10 years old.
You can fight Roscoe Hill.
Roscoe Hill is 29, and Edgar just turned 18.
Yeah.
He just turned 18 2 weeks before the tournament.
Yeah.
So being pretty much a 17-year-old, fresh out of high school, you got to fight a man that just left the Olympics.
Yeah.
That's big, and anybody can be put in that position at the elite. So, that's going to be the biggest thing.
Oh, I think we lost them. Hopefully they jump back on, but that's a bummer. Shout out to Edgar though. He's doing his thing, and he just jumped over to the elite division, coming straight out of youth, and did his thing and went all the way to the finals. Came up with silver at the end. So we'll just kind of stick around a little bit, see if they come back. Hopefully they do, just kind of wrap up. But just kind of recapping on the competition that's happening this year, we're going to go ahead and do the 2025 USA Boxing International Open, which is open to USA Boxing members, right? So you don't have to be a Team USA member or anything like that. It's only for the junior, youth, and elite division, so nothing younger than that. But it's going to be out in Pueblo, Colorado, and it's just going to give the U.S. boxers the opportunity to compete against international boxers, which, depending on your goals in this sport, seeing that different look from an international boxer across from you does make you see the style in a different manner, which should improve your development on what you need to improve to be able to, execute your plan against a boxer that has a different style, usually more ladder in their feet, a little bit more of a fencer, versus boxer. So aside from that tournament, we have the Junior Olympics and the Summer Festival that's going to be out in Las Vegas, the West Coast. Glad to see that there's going to be a tournament out there because everything seems to be kind of East Coast. Just had one in Richmond, Virginia, national. So JOs, that's going to be in mid-June. And then the national championships are going back to Lubbock, Texas, the first week of December, the 6th through the 13th. So it doesn't seem like Salim and Coach DeWood are going to be able to jump back on. We're going to go ahead and try to get these podcasts back kind of in action. We took a little bit of time off, but we'll be doing this probably a little bit more bi-weekly and then weekly, and then kind of the pace that we did where we're doing two a week. So slowly just kind of going into that. Remember to go to 3 Rounds Live, 3 Rounds Substack. That's where we're posting all the content that we're producing. The reels, they're out there. We're going to put some cuts on National Silver Gloves, and we're still doing stuff for the national championship. So got a few things coming out. We got some clips for some more breakdowns like we did for Frank Espinosa, when he just kind of highlighting his inside game. We have a couple other clips and boxers that we're going to start highlighting, not just kind of showing you who they are, but specifically what makes them a boxer that you should keep an eye on moving forward. So, they did show up. Let's see if we can bring them back in, and let's see. Hey.
Yeah,
The phone had died. I'm sorry. We was actually sitting in the parking spot right in front of the gym, and the
Oh,
phone died. The whole time the phone wasn't plugged up. When it cut off, he's like, "Oh man, I didn't plug it up." I'm like, "Yo, man."
it's all good. I was just kind of letting them know where people are going to be able to compete. We were hoping that you were going to jump on, so I'm glad you guys were able to. Uh, yeah, so Coach, obviously the focus of this interview was with Salim, but you got other boxers that you're training and you taking them to silver gloves. And who else is in your team now? And when do you see them competing up next?
My little guys. Okay, I got Antonio DeBose and I got Antonio Singleton, and one is my cousin, and the other one, he never goes home, right? And so this my new little guys. I got Cassier, I got Luis, I got one. Luis is going to be a lawyer. He's a
Ooh,
very smart kid.
nice.
Sometimes he goes back and forth to Mexico. This is one of my guys.
Hmm.
I got Suave Downs. He's coming back. I got little Eric LeBrun. He's on a comeback. Some of the kids sometimes they get in between, going on into other things into their life, and taking on other endeavors and stuff like that. But I still got a program of about like 14, 16 kids, and six to I would say 7 to 8 of them are ready to compete at any given time.
Mm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's always like a building process, and everybody is at where they at individually, and I try to, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
bring everybody along accordingly, not put them in nothing before they ready for it and stuff like that.
That's
But this is like the second group of kids I had. The first group they did very well, and then the second group I have a few of them I expect to do very well as well.
there you go. There you go. And you know, i- is Salim helping you there, coaching wise? It seems like
Yeah,
he's going to be the
sometimes
next coach coming up after he tears up the boxing scene, huh?
sometimes he well with Yogi and with Celine with Yogi and Fats, that's what we call the two Antonios. With them two, he's very hands on. With the other guys, he works with them. Sometimes he knows the point I'm trying to get across. I'll use him to get it across. I say, yo, Salim, do this with him. I want him to do it like this, and that's another way for him to refresh his boxing in his mind as well. If you could teach it, then you know it,
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely,
right?
definitely.
So sometimes it's like I'll have him work on something, and I'll be like, all right, we'll show this to him, and he's doing that. So, yeah, that happens. That happens.
There you go. There you go. Just a last question there for Salim, real quick. You know, Philadelphia, has produced legends in the sport, right? We're talking about, Bernard Hopkins, Joe Frazier, Danny Garcia. Uh, do you use that as pressure or motivation? Coming from a fight city like that, like, you're gonna put them on your back. Like, how does it feel just coming out from a place where the sport really thrives with some of the boxers that I mentioned?
To me, it's actually exciting. Coming from a
Mhm.
fighting city and just all the history that's in Philly it's exciting to know that my name is going to be placed in history books in such a city for the sport.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And just being surrounded by great fighters and former world champions and current world champions and people who are likely to definitely be world champions in the future. I'm just blessed to be around the information and to just be able to gain the knowledge that I do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Just being in Philadelphia.
Man, yeah, no, I can hear the appreciation. I can feel the wanting to really represent that well by doing whatever you need to do on your end and be able to do that. So, I'm not gonna go ahead and take out too much of your time. Go ahead and give out some shout outs, thank yous to people that helped you on your journey so far.
I definitely want to give a big shout out to my parents, my mom, my dad. My mom's the official, my dad's my coach, and they're really my backbone in the sport. And those are my biggest critics and my biggest supporters. All my coaches, Rail Wahid as well, they're very critical on me, and that keeps me in check a lot of times. I want to give a shout out to my teams and all my teammates, and even my younger guys, cause they keep me on my toes. Cause it's something I gotta look good for them. At the end of the day, I gotta be a good role model. So they keep me on my feet and just keep me going even when the days get rough. All my family, the people that help me get these tournaments, cause boxing isn't cheap.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
just everybody that supports me and everybody that strives to see me win. I just want to give a big shout out to them.
There you go. There you go. And coach, one final question here for you. You know, do you? I mean, this sport always wants from you, right? You always have to be trained. You always have to be learning. You always have to be studying, doing all that stuff. But do you sit down and step back a little bit sometime and really understand and appreciate what you're creating right now? This is not something that is, a kept secret. We know the
Yeah,
potential from what could happen with Salim. You sit back and just kind of take in the accomplishment that you've done and really kind of reset yourself to be able to keep that pace.
I think sometimes I think I'm s- a lot of the times because I'm the one that has to think a lot of this stuff through. I have to even sometimes do some thinking for him just to set him on a path so that he can go ahead on and do his own thinking. So a lot of the times I'm like shooting on to the next, but every once in a while or after certain amounts of times goes past, I sit back and I'm like, oh, shit, wow, that was crazy. Like sometimes I have those surreal moments, or sometimes I'll get a phone call from somewhere and I might talk to somebody important that I didn't necessarily know, and they like found some type of way to get my phone number, and when I hang up, I'm like, yo, I just hung up the phone with such and such. And they just called me over. And it's just like, wow. Right. And it's like, as much as I worked for these moments and we've been working for it and I expect it to happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? Still, when it happened, it's still surreal a little bit. I
Yeah.
actually was talking to my brother about that the other day because, like, I was talking to one of the Watson twins on the phone or whatever. And it was like, he didn't get my phone number from me, and I was like, "How do you know me?" How you know me? We just got finished fighting Marcus Luther. Like everybody in boxing knows me. So like they don't know me, but they know me. But you get
Yeah.
it. So sometimes
Yeah.
it hits you, and you just like, oh wow, okay, that's cool. Like yeah, thank you. That was nice. Thank you. Like you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and then and as soon as I want to get happy, because I have to practice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't. I don't know. It's like it's not no time to really. I can't really explain it, but that's what happens to me. It's like a hamster wheel of it too, because it happens periodically. It just happens sometimes. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
you meet
Yeah.
this person, or this person acknowledges you, and you like, yo, that was cool, thank you. Like and then you like, you know what? Well, if that person saw it, then I bet you they getting ready to come back here and try to check us about something again. So we need to start getting ready, right? And that's boxing for you.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, boxing is that's what it is. You guys really embody that effort. I think you're in a great community of just coaching knowledge and uh, you know good sparring partners and just everything because it requires so much of. It's not just you in the gym. Like you have to go and go to tournaments. You have to really put yourself out there to really learn and excited to see how this next chapter with the international competition and how that is how you specifically take that information, that knowledge, everything is brought up, and still continue to cultivate it because that's not the end goal. The end goal is not
No,
going to the youth is not doing that. That's not the end goal. And I'm sure you guys know exactly what those goals are going to be, and
you
these
gotta
are
get.
just progressions. You know what I mean? So
You know the thing. That's what I was about to say. The thing about it was what I could say is that if any free game I would give out on this one was this. Salim is a 12-time champion. I didn't strategize any of those except for the first one. The first nationals that he won, I strategized going into that tournament. I went around one person and I went directly into one person. That was the only time I ever did that. After that, I said, I have to make you go straight in the fire, and you had to get the win straight in the fire. Not me knowing that the hard people are down here, and I'm gonna put
Mm.
you here, and we gonna get you through. Because I think this person's too slow. I didn't do none of that. I let him go straight in the fire. That's why he got some of the hardest people on his resume
Mm-hmm.
as an amateur, and I did that for the purpose of being ready if you really became the man.
Yeah.
Some people, they get in the situation, you might look, they may have, and it's no disrespect, you see people, they may have 18 national titles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not easy to get at all,
Right.
but sometimes was you necessarily putting yourself in the hardest position when you was doing that, or did you take the position that fitted you? Either way, you got to respect the result of it,
Yeah.
but I could get a better result for you long term if you was the person that I put in the fire every time. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
kind of like the goal with Salim, and that's the same thing that I do with Antonio. I I put Fat in the hardest situations I can put him in. I'm not looking to put him in the easy situation or
Right.
avoiding this guy and going around this way, because I can do that and it can look good and I can even win you a couple championships. I know how to go. I sometimes I know who can beat my kids and who can't. I know how to do that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't really get you ready.
Right.
It don't
Right.
get
Right.
you ready.
It'll
And
come
one
out.
day
It'll
when
come
that
out.
target get on your back, you better be ready. You better be ready
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah. Yeah. Most definitely. That's what it is. This sport, you can't approach the sport like that. You know what I mean? And it'll come out, and you know that's the only way you're going to get better, right? Everybody wants to win. It's everything might look one way on paper, you still got to fight the fights. That's just
Yep.
how it works out. I mean, so coach, any shout outs to anything that last words you want to say here as we wrap up?
I want to give a shout out to Kyon Fleming and Zachariah Chapman on their national titles, and they made the junior team. I don't think the junior team is going out and traveling,
Mm-hmm.
but Zach, they might go to camp. But I wanted
Yeah.
to give the shout outs to those two kids because they're from the neighborhood. But not just that, I've seen both of them since they was young in this thing, and especially for Zach, a lot of stuff gets said. Like we said, in amateur boxing, it'd be a lot of talking, it'd be a lot of whispering. You know what I'm saying? And Zach was boxing Salim getting ready for that tournament that just happened in December.
Mm.
So he was putting himself in the hardest situation you could possibly put yourself in. And
Yeah.
he came out on top again.
Yeah.
And there's always a lot of talk about what Zach not going to do and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
he
Repeat
looked real
that
good.
now. Repeat that now. You see what I'm saying? Repeat what we not going to do.
Yeah.
We don't let nobody tell us what we not going to do in this area. If you
Yeah.
can stop us, then you can stop us. Hey, look,
Yeah.
because the game is the game, and it's not easy. It's not easy on this level. But whenever the guys that are around me, or the guys that are around me by association, by annex, by sparring or whatever, whenever I see when those kids are able to come out on top, man, I feel good about that, almost as good as I feel about when my kids are able to come out on top.
There you go. Hey,
And I wanted to give them two a shout out, and Rasheem Jefferson for sure, and
yeah.
and Wahid Raheem, man, just and just everybody that's involved with us, even my guy Rob Acosta, just everybody that be involved with us and stuff like that. I just want to shout out everybody that helped me get my son to this point, because it does raise a village. It does take a village to raise a child, and even though I'm the head trainer, and I'm probably responsible for the most part for Salim's success outside of himself. There are other people who help me, and I'm not afraid to acknowledge that. I don't think that that makes me look any less of a coach. I've won over 30 titles as a coach, and my son only won 12. So I
There you
don't
go.
feel no type of way about giving nobody else props
Yeah.
or giving nobody else recognition for helping add to.
Yeah.
I've done enough on my own to where as though that doesn't make me inferior.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes we get like that as boxing coaches. There's a lot of that, but I'm not with that. I give props to everybody that helped me.
And Salim's going to be the one reaping the benefits of that kind of diversity and just coaching and sparring and whatever the case may be. The results will come at the end, and it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Like you said, this bout in particular, Salim's name in particular, they're making waves, and people are looking, people are watching, more people are gonna be looking the next time you compete. So internationally, people are gonna start seeing who he is at an international level. That's a whole different, world right there. So it's exciting to see that. Exciting to see that the elite division is around the corner. You know what I mean? So that's where the titles start making, they matter. You know what I mean? You can get all them titles in Bantam and, intermediate and junior. Those are all nice.
You gotta listen. When you get to the red belt, it start counting right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I never mean no disrespect to the white one, because we bust our behind to get the white one. Yeah. We bust our behind and we wanted it bad. So whenever I say this, I don't never want it. But as far as the pros and those and that money and those guys looking at you, they start paying attention when you get at the red belt.
Yeah.
And then when you get at the blue belt, that's when they starting to count. And that's what I'm saying. Like after that Marcus fight, I'm gonna be honest, my phone hasn't been the same. My Instagram has not been the same, because the whole boxing was literally watching it.
Yeah.
They were.
And given that fact, which I doubt it, I don't doubt it for a second. I do appreciate your guys' accessibility and willingness to come out and just kind of chat up here. All this, this is the second time. I think it's the first guest that we had on twice.
Y'all was one of the first people. No, y'all was one of the first people to acknowledge, and then I feel like you don't get to the top and then don't acknowledge none of the people who helped you get out there, just help people just knowing you. You know how many people told me that they started seeing him and knowing who he was from your page, and then they started checking him out at the fights and so on and so forth. So if us and whoever comes behind us can kind of push these platforms forward, it's a bigger platform for everybody. That way, when Antonio becomes the 16, 17, 17, and 18, now how big is your platform at that point?
Right.
So if we add to that, then we can add. That's a way that we all can help push the game forward.
Definitely. I'm glad that I see more people getting involved. Shout out to the homie Jay, Parallel 8 over there, doing his thing. So there's platforms growing to really put shine on these youth, the amateur boxing.
People couldn't really watch amateur boxing like that. It was hard to keep up with it. If you're not involved in it, you can't really keep up. You gotta know what's going on. Somebody gotta tell you when it's going on. Then you gotta watch the stream. Then you gotta but with Parallel 8 and guys at OTX.
I'm their platforms.
All of these platforms, man, they're helping push the sport and push the awareness of the kids before they even get where they getting at. So it allows people to warm up to them and stuff like that, man. I really
this is the minor leagues, right? This is the minor leagues for before the pros. And I always say, it always starts with 3 rounds. You know what I mean? It always starts in the amateur before you go out to the pros. So that's what it is. Again, appreciate the access. We'll definitely be keeping up with the team. Spoken Hand Boxing. We'll make sure to keep up with the young guys. Keep up with Salim when he goes to camp. See him internationally. Excited for all that. And I'm sure we'll touch base, from here on out and just kind of see exactly what's happening. As you guys move forward in 2025, big year for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. So, Salim, I appreciate the time. I know you're driving, multitasking out here, but like I said, I appreciate the accessibility, being able to just come out here and talk it up a little bit and just kind of let them know who you are and what you're doing, because people should know. It's exciting, and I appreciate you. You have a real level head and just big things. Excited for what's to come for you.
Thank you. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you in your platform. Because in my opinion, you and Parallel are the 2 biggest platforms in amateur boxing right now, in my opinion. It's other platforms with bigger followings, but the platforms that really put a focus on amateur boxing and put a highlight on the fighters themselves are you and Parallel 8 by far. So
appreciate you again. Shout out to the homie. Yeah. No, I appreciate you.
You were the first one. You were the blueprint. So
yeah. Hey, that definitely have been doing it for a while, and and it's great to see the boxers like yourself that are excelling at this level doing it at the pros as well. Hey, we'll continue cheering you guys on when we do that. So that's all we got. This is 3 Rounds Live number 204. Salim Ellis-Bey doing his thing, Coach Dawood, Spoken Hand Boxing. That's it. You guys have a good night. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Stay up on the Instagram, all that stuff. We'll have more content, and we'll go from there. So you guys have a good night. Take it easy, man.